Coming up on Valley View News, the group Justice for Murdered Children fights LA's food insecurity.
We have people living here in this country and they don't have access to food. It breaks my heart.
Plus, find out about a local compost site.
Our main mission is to divert food scraps and organic material out of landfills.
And what are the effects of opiate usage?
You just end up in a bad spot if you keep on taking them.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Camille Acevedo.
And I'm Rocky Walker.
Southern California is still in a COVID-19 state of emergency, but for the past 2 months, there has been an early and an intense surge in flu and RSV cases. Most patients are children with RSV. Beds in hospital pediatric wards are filling. Some places are overwhelmed. Even Northridge hospitals are getting a wave of patients.
Our staff is stretched out and we're working long hours. We're trying to accommodate as many patients as we can beyond what we would normally accommodate just because the parents seem to be desperate.
The CDC estimates there have been 78,000 hospitalizations and 4,500 deaths this season from the flu. Nearly 20,000 Americans were admitted to the hospital with the flu last week. That's double than the week before. I've
seen more cases of flu this year than I've seen in 20 years, and I've been in practice for 43 years. It's just been unbelievable.
Since the virus spread earlier than normal this year, it may peak early too. RSV hospitalizations are nearing the total hospitalizations from the 2018 to 2019 cold and flu season. There isn't an RSV vaccine, but there are flu and COVID vaccines, and health officials say taking them could ease the strains on hospitals.
A phase 1 study of an experimental HIV vaccine shows it creates an immune system response against the virus. Tests showed it had a favorable effect in 97% of the patients studied. So far, scientists say the experimental vaccine shows that diverse HIV strains could be recognized and maybe neutralized. More than 20 clinical trials for HIV vaccines are taking place worldwide.
LA County's Public Health Director Barbara Freire says if COVID-19 cases continue to rise, mandatory indoor masking may return. She says the healthcare system is stressed and there's a need to slow transmissions. The county is moving from low to high transmission levels. There are 2,000 cases reported each week. Hospitals are getting an influx of patients as winter surge builds. Health officials recommend wearing a mask indoors and to get vaccinated.
Healthcare workers in California are now eligible for retention bonuses. The state allotted $1.3 billion for bonuses aimed at people who worked in the California medical facilities from July to October of this year. To get the bonus, a worker must have been at least part-time. The California Department of Healthcare Services will hand out the bonuses. Getting the money is a two-step process. You must register through the DHCS, then apply through its portal. The deadline for applications is December 30th. Payments should start in January.
Millions of Angelenos don't have reliable sources for food. Some communities are rallying to help fight hunger. Valley View's Savanah Taylor went to one neighborhood and explains.
This right here? Both of them. This is one and that's one.
California is one of the nation's top agriculture producers. Yet 2.5 million people in LA are affected by food insecurities. Justice for Murdered Children organized a food giveaway to help fight hunger. Founder LAWANDA HAWKINS says their mission is to help those in need.
We have people living here in this country and they don't have access to food. It breaks my heart. It's very important that we have places like this throughout the whole entire city.
Felicia Pleasant says she appreciates the help.
Right now, this is a blessing to us, so I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for this event.
Roger Castle, Chief Development Officer over at LA Regional Food Bank, says there are multiple factors contributing to LA hunger.
Before the pandemic, food insecurity in LA County was 1 in 5 people, and we've seen the result of the pandemic and the high rates of inflation now. 1 in 4 families are now experiencing food insecurity.
While food insecurities continue to grow, Justice for Murdered Children will host their food giveaway every 2nd and 4th Saturday of each month. For Valley View News, I'm Savanah Taylor.
The Los Angeles City Council voted last Friday to phase out oil drilling in the city. This unanimous vote bans new oil wells and phases out existing ones within the next 20 years. The city of LA has 26 oil and gas fields and more than 5,000 oil and gas wells that will be shut down in the coming years. The organization Stand LA helped lobby for the law. It says that low-income communities of color are affected the most by poor air quality surrounding the wells.
Former Long Beach Police Chief Robert Luna was sworn in as LA's next sheriff. Luna's officiation was joined by his family and police officials. Luna says he now wears the same uniform worn by deputies when they patrolled his childhood neighborhood. He promises to tackle the county's crime problems. He'll also focus on integrity, accountability, and collaboration. His victory in the year's election marks the second time in a century an incumbent lost re-election.
The LA Police Department had a gun buyback to exchange firearms for gift cards. 459 firearms were collected between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. $100 gift cards were given for handguns, shotguns, and rifles. $200 gift cards were given for ghost guns and assault weapons. It was the LAPD's 13th annual gun buyback.
The Supreme Court last Thursday refused an emergency appeal to revive President Biden's student loan program. It affects student loans of up to $20,000 that would have been forgiven. Meanwhile, the administration extended its pause for borrowers to pay back loans. The Supreme Court agreed to rule early next year on its legality. The loan forgiveness plan is based on the Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Students Act, or HEROES Act, in 2023.
Many CSU campuses offer an over age 60 tuition waiver, but at California State University Northridge, it's a different story. Valley View's Jesse Barrientos reports.
The CSU Over 60 Tuition Waiver Program gives senior citizens free tuition. It started in the late 1970s. Some CSU campuses offer the waiver for California residents over age 60, but California State Northridge University doesn't. 63-year-old HOYT Smith studies at CSUN.
I was surprised to find that Cal State Northridge is one of a very few Cal State campuses in Southern California that don't participate in this program.
Even though CSUN doesn't give him the senior waiver, Smith says he's dedicated to CSUN, but with mixed emotions.
I have Matador pride. You know, I'm a Matador. I've been, going back to the 80s. But there's a little bit of shame there.
Older college students have different experiences on campus. Younger students may not recognize them as students. For some seniors, it's hard to fit in with mostly late teens and 20-something-year-olds.
And sometimes feeling invisible and seeing young people congregating and picking up the chatter and the buzz and the energy and feeling a little bit outside, like people not recognizing me as a student.
Smith says he still hopes CSUN will participate in the over age 60 waiver program.
So I think it's kind of sad that door isn't open right now. But I believe that we can open it. I believe if we knock hard enough, we knock loud enough, that I believe that door will open.
The CSUN Admissions and Records Office said that there isn't any information about the waiver at the moment, but will reevaluate the program in the future. I'm Jesse Barrientos, reporting from Northridge, Valley View News.
President Joe Biden signed a bill into law making the potential rail strike illegal. It prevents workers from walking off their jobs before the holiday season. Biden says it'll help the nation avoid an economic catastrophe.
It's not an easy call, but I think we have to do it. The economy's at risk.
The initial agreements negotiated by the administration were accepted by all but 4 rail unions. It guaranteed paid sick leave days. The workers and companies had until December 9th to reach an agreement before striking. The strike would have cost the economy $20 billion per day.
Moore County in North Carolina announced a curfew and state of emergency after 2 power substations were damaged by gunfire. Officials say the attack was intentional. 40,000 customers lost power. On Sunday, they instilled a curfew from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. During the outage, there were increased emergency calls, which included auto accidents. Local, state, and federal law enforcement continues to investigate who fired on the power stations.
I can say this individual that done this, it was targeted. It wasn't random.
Moore County had to open a shelter at its county sports complex.
Nationwide and in Southern California, there's an epidemic of catalytic converter thefts. Officials say the stealing is increasing. Valley View's Andrea Gonzalez reports.
There's a crisis of catalytic converter thefts in Los Angeles County. Thieves target the expensive car part for black market sales. There's no sign of slowing down.
What the catalytic converter does is changes those dangerous gases into different other gases, if you will, and basically asking permission.
Statistics from State Farm Insurance show that in the year ending in June 2022, catalytic converter thefts grew 109% nationwide. Reportedly, more than 43,000 of the parts were stolen.
When they vandalize the cars, your property is at stake, and then also your ego, comes out, and you start getting angry at trying to find a reason why these people do what they do.
There are plenty of steps from keeping your car safe as to purchase cages as well as to park on your driveways. Reporting for Valley View News in Northridge, I'm Andrea Gonzalez.
The Department of Homeland Security extended the Real ID enforcement deadline. The new deadline is for May 7th, 2025. After the deadline, every traveler 18 years old and older will need a Real ID compliant driver's license. They're also required to have a state-issued enhanced driver's license to fly within the country. The Secretary of Homeland Security said it's working to meet the requirements in all states and territories. The original deadline was set for May of 2023.
California is seeking help from Native American tribes in Owens Valley and about how to restore and protect lands. A lot of land in the state has been altered or damaged by human activity. The state is consulting with the Big Pine Tribe in Owens Valley to get ideas about land preservation. The effort is led by the State Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment. Some tribal leaders say this is the first authentic consultation between a government agency and tribes.
Griffith Park's iconic pony rides will shut down in the coming weeks. This comes after the rides received scrutiny and protests in recent years by animal welfare activists. They claim the horses are overworked. Last year, the Los Angeles Alliance for Animals called for a ban on commercial pony rides in the city. City council members asked for an outside equestrian expert to check on the horses' well-being, but it's unclear if these assessments occurred. The Department of Recreation and Parks confirmed its decision not to extend the pony rides contract.
Police in Woodland Hills say a toddler was attacked by a coyote just hours after a warning went out. A team of volunteers went door to door warning residents about roaming coyotes. The toddler's clothing was collected for testing to match with any coyotes caught. If there are DNA matches, then the matching coyote will be euthanized. State Department of Fish and Wildlife captain says they're searching for the coyote. They say it's not the first coyote sighting in the area. Experts say most coyotes are afraid of people. They prefer to eat garbage, rodents, and pets.
More to come on Valley View News. Iran shuts down its morality police unit and new sea creatures are discovered. Stay with us.
I'm an actor in an ad reminding you that if you're high, just don't drive.
Savanah Taylor joins us again, this time in our digital media center for some international news.
After 2 months of protest following the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, Iran decided to abolish its morality police. The announcement was made last weekend. Protesters refused to wear the hijab. They burned their mandatory public head coverings in opposition to the morality police. During a religious conference, Attorney General Mohammed Jafar said the morality police division was unnecessary. In Iran, the hijab became mandatory in 1983. Morality police officers initially only issued warnings. 15 years ago, they started arresting women. Brazilian soccer legend Pelé is hospitalized for a respiratory infection and chemotherapy in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Last weekend, there were reports that he was in an hospice after not responding to chemotherapy. After those reports, Pelé tweeted saying he wanted everyone to remain calm and that he's strong and following his treatment schedule. He thanked his medical team and his fans for their many get well messages. Pelé won 3 World Cups with Brazil, and he remains their all-time leading goal scorer with 77. Following a deal with the labor and business sector on Thursday, Mexico will increase its minimum wage. It will be by 20%. The raise begins January 1st, starting from 172 pesos to 207 pesos. The government, the labor sector, and the business sector were all in agreement with the wage increase. Formula One is canceling their Chinese Grand Prix in Shanghai for the 2023 season. The race was set for April 16th, but since China has strict zero COVID-19 lockdown policies, F1 decided the race couldn't be held there. However, there are discussions of another city hosting a possible 24th race. So far, Portugal is in talks for the 24th race. If a 24th race is added, it's unsure if it'll be on the original April 16th date or a new date. The 2023 season starts March 5th in Bahrain. The African National Congress called for South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to resign. A report by an independent panel says that he may have broken anti-corruption laws. The president denied charges of money laundering and reports of lots of money missing from his farm in 2020. Lawmakers are expected to debate the report on Tuesday. Indonesia's tallest volcano erupted last Sunday. It crippled the country's most populated island. Monsoon rains fell during the eruption on top of Semeru, which stands more than 12,000 feet above sea level. Officials say about 61,000 people and approximately 15,000 households within 10 kilometers of the volcano are likely to be impacted. Authorities conducted an evacuation of affected areas in response to the eruption. The last time Semeru erupted about a year ago, 51 people died. Back to you in the studio.
Hawaii's Mauna Loa volcano, which started erupting after Thanksgiving, is showing signs of slowing down. At one point last week, the volcano shot fountains of lava up to 148 feet high. Public health officials are concerned with the acidic gases being sent into the air by Mauna Loa and another volcano that's erupting, Kilauea. Those acidic gases may resemble smoke and can cause difficulty breathing and an increased heart rate if inhaled. Residents and visitors can expect ash in the air and levels of sulfur dioxide to increase in various areas of the state.
Last Tuesday saw the first ever U.S. auction of leases aimed at developing 5 commercial-scale floating wind farms off the West Coast. 3 will be off the California's central coast and 2 off the northern coast. The wind turbine farms will float about 25 miles offshore. 43 companies from around the world are approved to bid. The growth of offshore wind comes as climate change intensifies and the need for clean energy grows. The cost of offshore wind has dropped 60% since 2010 and 13% since 2021.
Alhambra celebrated its second annual Tamale Festival. Valley View's Lupita Baltazar talked to those that attended the event.
Justice for all. The American Legion Alhambra Post 139 brought back its second annual Tamale Festival in Carshow. The event lets the public sell tamales to help raise funds for veterans, active duty service members, and their families.
This event is an opportunity for the different posts, squadrons, and auxiliaries that make up our organization to come out and raise some money. So we do the Tamale Festival and they sell their tamales and it goes back into their post programs.
This festival got special recognition from the California State Senate because it celebrates the rich tradition of tamale making and its connection to Latino families.
Recognizing our veterans, you don't get more important than that. They are really the reason why I'm here and all of us are here. So every year when they celebrate, it is my honor to come and spend time with them.
Community involvement, I think that it's so beautiful because community is beautiful, right? It is so necessary. We can't do things by ourselves.
Vendors sell their best tamales and were sharing their culture with the public. Some vendors were doing the festival for the first time.
I feel like it was very nerve-wracking, but it's at the same time exciting to see all these faces and see a diversity, especially because coming from a small community, seeing Hispanics get together, and it was something exciting for me.
There was no car show this year due to the lack of some permits, but that didn't stop families to come and celebrate and have some fun. Reporting from Alhambra, I am Lupita Baltazar for Valley View News.
An unexpected discovery made by a Mississippi resident has paleontologists excited. A fragment of a fossilized jawbone with a tooth was discovered, and experts confirm it's from a large American lion that went extinct thousands of years ago. This lion was about 4 feet tall and 5 to 8 feet long. The lion lived in North America for more than 300,000 years during the Ice Age before facing extinction. It is believed only 3 other known fossils from these lions have been found in Mississippi.
At the Playa Vista Farmers Market, residents could donate food scraps to make nutrient-dense soil. Valley View's reporter Micah Hall attended.
LA Compost is a nonprofit organization that interacts with their community through volunteering opportunities and workshops. Kenny Derrick is the Westside Regional Hub Manager and is collecting compost at Playa Vista's Farmers Market.
Gardens just happen to be a space where we can do both of those things. We can process food waste, turn it into some really nutrient-dense, really beneficial soil amendment that will feed future generations.
Acceptable items include the scraps of fruits and vegetables and material that is made from trees. Compost also gets weighed. Participant Paul Young is here today with his daughter. He explains their routine.
We keep compost on our kitchen counter, put it into the garage, so vegetable scraps, just things at home, and we bring down about 5 pounds every Saturday.
Full bins are transported to a local community compost hub managed by LA Compost.
This provides an incredibly good way to keep our food for a week and then bring it and compost it.
LA Compost does not accept plastic, meat or dairy, and human or animal waste.
Really, our main mission is to divert food scraps and organic material out of landfills, but ultimately we do want to bring people together as well through the soil.
Mike Martinez is the founder of LA Compost, and the organization began in 2013. 2 other compost drop-off events took place today. They are known as Crenshaw's Farmers Market and the Silver Lake Farmers Market. Reporting from Playa Vista, I'm Michael Hall.
Block Power, a Brooklyn-based clean energy company, is bringing eco-friendly electric heating and cooling systems to lower-income communities. Their goal is to reduce carbon footprints and energy bills. This project is backed by Goldman Sachs Urban Investment Group and Microsoft's Climate Innovation Fund. By replacing dated gas power equipment, the building owner says save between 20 and 40% annually. The project will also bring up property values. Block Power has completed energy projects in over 1,200 buildings since 2014. They are now planning on decarbonizing all 125 million buildings across America with a grant from Jeff Bezos' Earth Fund.
Images were released of several previously unknown fish discovered in the Indian Ocean off of Australia's remote Cocos Islands Marine Park. Australia's National Science Agency operates a research vessel there and collected samples from as deep as 3 miles below the ocean surface. The vessel's 35-day journey covered nearly 7,000 miles. Among the fish discovered were a deep-sea batfish, a blind eel with transparent skin, and a viperfish.
When we come back, we remember a Sesame Street cast member. Also, Netflix Wednesday makes a storm. Stay with us.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
When you graduate, they graduate.
American R&B singer SZA announces her sophomore album, SOS. The 33-year-old singer made the announcement during her Saturday Night Live performance over the weekend. The album is set to be released December 9th.
Keke Palmer announces her first pregnancy while hosting late-night comedy show Saturday Night Live. The 29-year-old actor, who starred in the movie Nope, is expecting her first baby with her boyfriend, Darius Jackson. This was Keke's first time hosting.
The Universal horror action comedy Violent Night made $13.3 million in its first week, placing it in second place at the box office. Disney Marvel Studios' Black Panther: Wakanda Forever ended its fourth weekend at over $300 million, putting it at number 1. The action-adventure Strange World pulled in $25 million over a 2-week period. And the horror comedy The Menu comes in at 4th place, grossing a total of $24.7 million over a 3-week period.
Good Morning America is facing a scandal. 2 of its morning show anchors, TJ Holmes and Amy Robach, have allegedly been seeing each other despite being married to other people. The scandal came to light on November 30th when the British tabloid The Daily Mail published 65 candid photos showing the duo holding hands and otherwise getting cozy. ABC has reportedly taken the anchors off the air temporarily while they assess how to deal with the situation. The co-hosts have not spoken out about the affair as of yet.
Original Sesame Street cast member Bob McGrath died. The longtime cast member of Sesame Street died at 90 years. The actor's family shared the news on Facebook. McGrath made his first appearance when the show aired in the 1960s. He played out himself neighbor Bob in the 1969 pilot. The actor left the show in 2017. The actor died on December 4th.
Director Andrew Dominic addresses the backlash surrounding his 2022 Marilyn Monroe drama, Blonde, at Red Sea Film Festival on Sunday. The film, based on a fictionalized novel by Joyce Carol Oates, received criticism for including factually inaccurate events about the famous actress's life. Some even said the film romanticizes female pain and death. Dominic says the film received much backlash from American audiences because Monroe was not reinvented as empowered. The film, released on Netflix earlier this year, starred Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe.
As opioid usage rises among young people, there are signs of a dangerous trend. Valley View's Giovanni Galvez explains.
The recent death of Los Angeles teens from fentanyl overdoses brought to light the dangers of opioid use. A newly released report from the LA Public Health Department found that 1,504 people died from fentanyl overdose last year. Now some fear the use of opioids is so frequent that they may become normalized. College basketball player Dylan Barrientos was prescribed opioids by his doctor. He says recreational use is dangerous.
Yeah, I don't think people should be using them because, it's like very addicting. So like, yeah, you just end up in a bad spot if you keep on taking them.
Barrientos took opioids to treat severe pain after getting his appendix removed. He said the warning labels on the drugs made him reluctant to take them.
It said like addictive, so then I was like, I don't really want to get into this. So then I only took one. It made me feel sluggish. It made me just go to sleep, and I didn't really feel good when I used them.
Dr. Gary Tsai specializes in addictive substances for Los Angeles County. He says the county's opioid epidemic preceded the COVID pandemic.
Someone who's using pain medications on a regular basis can be at increased risk for dependency.
With the continuing rise of opioid usage and fentanyl deaths, health officials hope there will be a quick end to the trend before it becomes a social norm. Reporting for Valley View News, I'm Giovanni Galvez.
An online gun and floral shop in Texas could be facing a trademark infringement after being sued by the rock band Guns N' Roses. The rock band filed a lawsuit Thursday against a Jersey Village florist who owns an online shop with the name Texas Guns N' Roses. The owner used the name without consent or approval from the band. The band is arguing that the name could likely confuse consumers. The suit also details a falsely suggested connection. The band is requesting all websites be shut down, as well as triple compensation for damages.
The Netflix series Wednesday, which is a dark comedy remake of the classic The Addams Family. It has racked up 341.2 million hours watched in its first week, and it has dethroned Stranger Things from its spot as the most watched show. Co-creator Miles Millar says there are at least 3 or 4 seasons worth of potential storylines for the characters. It is still not known when season 2 will be available, but many characters from season 1 will be returning.
France's President Emmanuel Macron looked at the latest images captured by the James Webb Space Telescope. 2 galaxies were shining in the latest images captured. Macron and Vice President Kamala Harris viewed the images on a visit to NASA. The 2 galaxies are known as the Pillars of Creation. The telescope is designed to observe distant galaxies. It's an international mission with NASA and other countries. That's all for us at Valley View News. I'm Rocky Walker.
And I'm Camille Acevedo. For stories any time of day, go to our website, csunvalleyview.edu. Thanks for watching.